Alright, hi. This is Mr. Ko, and today's topic is two-step inequalities with distributive property. And our goal for today is to solve inequalities containing two steps and distributive property. And our California standards for today is 5.0. Alright, let's start with the first one. So our first topic is solving two-step inequalities. Just basic two-step ones. You have two steps here. Let's start off with your plus 4. So here we're going to subtract 4 both sides. The inverse operation of this, of adding 4, is to subtract 4. Here we're going to have 0. So now we have 2x is greater or equal to 24 minus 4 is 20. Then we're going to use the inverse operation of multiply and divide both sides by 2. We now have x is greater or equal to 10. Let's go ahead and graph that out. So when we graph this out, just a very basic graph is fine. 10, 11, and 9. We're going to go ahead and graph the dot right on 10. Because it is equal to, you're going to shade it in. It's a solid dot. And then because you're looking at the answers that are going to be bigger than 10, you're going to go ahead and go that way. Should use red. Okay? Alright. Okay, let's look at this one. Now this one is another two-step inequality. This one, notice it's going to be a subtraction and a division. So let's do the same thing. Subtract 3, we're going to inverse operation of this one, plus 3. Inverse operation of this one, plus 3. You now have m over 3 is less than or equal to negative 3. Because you are dividing by 3 here, the inverse of that is to multiply by 3 on this side and multiply by 3 on this side. That 3 multiplied by 3 is actually 3 over 3, so that becomes 1. 1 times m is equal to m is less than or equal to, and then negative 3 times 3 is going to give us negative 9. Let's go ahead and graph that out. Here you have negative 9, negative 8, and negative 10. You're going to go ahead and graph negative 9. Again, with a dot, because you have an equal sign here, that makes it a solid dot. And you're looking for all the values of m that's going to be less than negative 9. So, that way. Alright, let's try some where you have to switch the signs over. Alright, here we have another two-step inequality, and we're going to go ahead and take care of that plus 7 again. So here, inverse operation, minus 7, minus 7. So that becomes 0. You now have negative 7x is less than or equal to, and add these guys together, that looks like 63. So it would be negative 63. Then we're going to need to divide both sides by negative 7. When you divide by negative 7, anytime that you divide by a negative, this sign switches. So if I were to rewrite it out, it would look like 7 over 7 becomes 1x. This used to be less than, it's now going to be greater than, and that's going to be positive 9. And we're going to graph it out just the same way. 9 right here, 10 and 8. So here it's x is greater than 9. First of all, we're going to go locate 9. Because it is an equal to, that becomes a solid dot. And we're looking for all the values of x that'll make it true. Anything that's bigger than 9, and 9 itself, is going to make it true. Alright, how about this one? So let's go ahead and take care of the constant, the 4. Subtract 4 from both sides. You now have n over negative 3 is less than 2. Because I'm dividing by negative 3, I'm going to multiply this side by negative 3, multiply this side by negative 3. And again, whenever you multiply by negative 3 or when you divide by a negative number, your inequality switches. So let's rewrite that all over. Negative 3 over 3 gives you 1, that gives you n. Because it's a negative, this switches. It's now greater than, and that gives you negative 6. Graph that out, same exact way. Negative 6 right here, negative 5, negative 7. Look for the negative 6. You're going to draw a circle right on the negative 6 right here. If you look at it right here, there's no line, which means you're going to leave that open. Negative 6 is not an answer, but anything that is larger than negative 6 will be an answer. So anything larger is to the right. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at solving two-step inequalities with distributive property. So anytime that you have something like this, you're going to have to, number one, distribute first. So we're going to distribute the 3 to the p, that'll be 3p. Then you're going to distribute the 3 to the 1, that'll be positive 3. And that's going to be less than or equal to negative 18. Alright, get rid of the plus 3 by doing the inverse operation. Subtract 3. Subtract 3. You now have 3p is less than or equal to negative 21. Because it's 3 multiplied by p, you're going to need to use the inverse operation of 3. Inverse operation of 3. That becomes 1. 1 times p is going to give us p is less than or equal to negative 7. And then you would just graph this one out just like how you would normally graph out. Negative 7, negative 6, negative 8. Locate negative 7. Because it has an equal sign, you're going to have a solid dot. You're looking for all the values of p that's going to make this less than negative 7. So you're looking at all the numbers that are to the left of negative 7. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one also. Again, distribute first. Negative 3 times r gives you negative 3r. Negative 3 times this minus 4 or negative 4 is going to give you a plus 12. And you have that so far. Bring down everything else that has not been worked on. Alright, let's get rid of the plus 12 by subtracting 12. Subtract 12. You now have negative 3r is greater than or equal to 0 minus 12 is negative 12. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and, because it's a multiplication, the inverse of multiplying is to divide by negative 3. Divide this by negative 3. You are now left with r. Remember, this changes, and that's going to be from greater than is now less than or equal to. And then a negative divided by negative is a positive 4. So here's your number line, 4, 5, and 3. That is going to be a solid dot because of the line on the bottom, the equal sign. So it's a solid dot, and we're looking for all the values of r that's going to be less than 4. So it's all that way. Alright, that's it, and this was solving two-step inequalities with distributive property. Thanks for watching.